Hey, welcome back, y'all. Today I want to help answer a few questions that have come up. Basically, I'm just going to do an explanation of my suspension setup and the theory behind it. This bike is stock wheelbase. The swing arm is completely stock. It has not been stretched. One of the questions was, what did I use? What kind of kit did I use for lowering links? You can see right here, this little guy that bolts on there. This bolt right here is the stock shock location. My understanding is these three holes, you got 1, 2, and 3 inches lowered. So those can be bought on Amazon or eBay or Lowbrow or Sporty Parts or any of those places. Pay attention to the year of your bike, because I made a mistake. I actually bought 2 sets of these, and the first set were for a 2000 up. This bike is a 97. This stuff would not line up. So you can do this several ways. You can buy shorter shocks. These ones installed measure from center to center. They're 12 inches, which means they're probably about a 12.5-inch shock without the weight of the bike on it. The reason I went with this link instead of just buying a shorter shock was I wanted to change the angle of the shock back like this. And the reason for that was I just wanted it to dampen different than it would have normally to make it softer, so to speak, so that the back end drops. There's no real proven science behind that. That was just a hunch I had. Charlie! Sorry about that, y'all. The reason you don't have any really adjustability on these shocks, the only thing you can do is adjust your spring preload. So I know, based on riding one of these things on the street, and I told you backwards, based on riding one of these on the street, when you lower the bike, it makes it ride more harsh, so that these stock shocks are too soft, and when you angle it back like this, it actually makes it, maybe I don't know, maybe I got it backwards. Anyway, when you lower your bike for street, it makes it ride more harsh when you change the angle of this geometry of the shock. So that probably means that it's bottoming out easier, if I had to guess. Anybody knows any different, please feel free to comment. I'm not a expert at shocks. So you can see the spring preload, I got it set just about in the middle. I weigh 200 pounds, and I have 200 pounds at 6'1". Currently, for the time being, I'm running a stock spoke back wheel on it, as I do have the matching katana wheel to that front one, but I couldn't make it fit back here without actually modifying the swing arm. So over the winter, I'm going to do that. Basically what that entails is this side of the swing arm is going to have to be moved out about 1 inch. And I'm probably over the winter going to go ahead and, while I'm at it, maybe put 4 inches of stretch on it. I feel like the bike is fairly easy to ride now. I can tell you guys that the best 60 foot I had out of it was a 176. And it picked the front wheel up a little bit, and it carried it past the 60 foot timers. And that was my best 60 foot on it. So far, I'm pretty aggressive launching it, and I haven't had it try to wheelie on me, you know, out of control. So I think it's a pretty good setup. The way I've got it set up, it works well for me. As far as the front end suspension goes, I think I've let the forks up in the clamps an inch or so to help lower, level the bike out rather. It has this front end lowering strap on it. It's a travel limiter that all the sport bike guys use those, and it is a lifesaver on a stock wheelbase bike, believe me. It very much helps keep that front end down. So I highly recommend you guys do that if you're going to run a stock wheelbase bike. Can't think of anything else other than I did mention I put a 50 tooth. I've been running a 50 tooth, and I think it's a 22 on the front. I think that's what comes with that standard conversion kit. Note to the wise, I ended up not using the sprocket that I bought with the conversion kit because it was steel instead of aluminum. This one here is a sprocket specialist. It's aluminum, and you guys know the rule of thumb: 1 pound of unsprung weight is like saving 3 pounds of weight. So but I did get the chain and the front sprocket with that conversion kit for what they cost. If you're going to be running an aftermarket wheel, or not aftermarket, well, even aftermarket, or say Japanese wheels on your bike, you can buy a custom-made sprocket for pretty much any wheel. This came from Sprocket Specialists, and with shipping and everything, it was right at $100. So that fits the small, I'm calling it the Pilot, the hub. Fits a small hub. Let's see, I modified the stock belt guard. And essentially all I did was cut off this part that wrapped down around the pulley to help keep stones off of it, and I bolted a piece of angle aluminum to it to extend it out to cover the front of the sprocket. That will pass tech. That's legal. I believe it's I can't remember. I think it's center line to center line of the sprockets are the minimum amount of coverage you got to have on them. I guess I can go on and explain some more of this stuff if you guys want to know. Let's see, let's talk about the engine for a minute. This engine has a set of OEM, and I'm calling them non-prepared flywheels. These are just stock takeouts from another 883 engine, set up in these cases with the proper clearances and whatnot. I'm running a set of Andrews N4 camshafts, which are right at 500 lift. The operating range of those camshafts is 2,500 RPM to 6,500 RPM, which is what helped me choose my shift point. The cylinders and the pistons are Hammer Performance. It's a 1275 kit with the pistons custom cut for the Buell Thunderstorm heads. These are Hammer tube bases, okay, and they have stock valves in the heads. I did upgrade those valve springs and retainers and locks and put new seals in them and touched up the valve seats, and those springs are good up to 600 lift. I also put Ultima or Midwest Industries, I guess, roller rockers. I wanted to give them a try because they're significantly cheaper than the S&S rockers. I've talked to a few people that run them on motors that make a lot more power than this one. So far, they haven't had any failures. However, I do keep a spare set of them in the toolbox in case something happens. As far as, let's see, the clutch on this is a stock basket. It's an Energy 1 clutch kit with a +1 and a 15% stronger clutch spring. You guys should be familiar by now with the air shifter on this thing. I went with Dyna 2000i ignition, and that is a single fire Dyna coil. To kill the engine between shifts, this came with the shifts. The air shifter is an MPS. That's based out of Florida. That is their electronic engine kill that basically took the place of the old air kill. You can see I have my air gauge for my shifter mounted up here on the dash. This is my shift button. This is an MPS button. And the reason I did this was because buying any switch, tether, any of that stuff that fits 1-inch handlebars is about double the price of any of for the Japanese 7/8 bars. So I fabricated this bracket out of some scrap aluminum and mounted this switch on here. It was, I want to say $60 total for that switch. Again, with a tether, this thing here, you just clip it in, and when the bike is on, if you get pulled off, the idea is it'll pull the switch off. So again, that is legal. I would much rather have a tether mounted to the bike here, but I don't know if you guys follow the NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle, but Angie Smith just went down, I think, in St. Louis a few weeks back, and she has an NHRA approved tether kill on her bike, obviously, and it failed to work when she went off the bike. So that's all a matter of interpretation in my book. So one thing that worked just as good as the other. I'm not going to pay $140 for a Pingle tether kill that fits a 1-inch bar. Just not going to do it. So that's too much. I guess not unless the rules actually absolutely mandated it. Let's see, moving on here. I'm running an S&S intake manifold that was made for a Super E carburetor. And if you guys can see, I have a rubber boot, a 2-bolt flange rubber boot bolted to that. And that's what I clamp my Mikuni. This is an HSR 42 on this. Whatever pilot jet it had in stock is still in there, and I have raised it up to a 170 main. I run a mix of a 50-50 mix of 110 and 88 non-ethanol, so it factors out to around 100 octane. So I, with that boot and the clamp and everything, I don't have to have that bracket on here to hold the carburetor on there. It's on there. So the pipe is a Cobra Diablo. As of right now, I'm still running the baffle in it. I haven't taken that out yet because when I do, it's going to lean it out again. I'm going to have to jet it up even more. And I've got one more up. I can go up one more size, and I may still have to do that yet, even with the baffle as it gets cooler out. So there's the 2000i. I think I went through the setup on that in a past video. So hopefully this will answer some of the questions. Again, like I said, the bike is stock wheelbase. I don't know, I got lucky in the setup because it transfers quite well. I couldn't ask for a better riding bike. I have yet to make any quarter-mile runs on it. It's all been 1/8 mile so far, so I might find out that I need a steering stabilizer on it. I don't know, but so far at 93 miles an hour, it seems to be pretty stable. So hopefully that answers some of y'all's questions. Please, if you got any more, feel free to ask. Thanks as always for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day.